Good. So this is the third part in it, and what we'll again the plan is hopefully God willing after tonight we're going to be actually going to the text. So we've been preparing to go into the text. So hopefully we'll go into the text actually, and it'll give us a lot more background. And again, I just want you to know something. I just spoke to someone, Eliyahu, and not Eliyahu, Nafi, a mutual friend, and I was telling him about the Shuir. So he said to say a story. I said, and I told him, I as I was driving today, I was listening to a CD, and the CD was playing and playing and playing, and it went to the next year, and next year happened to be a whole class just about the BIH Shuir. So I heard an important story that actually happened, and it just proves the worth of this type of a class. It has happened actually after the BIH Shuir passed away. We know that we discussed it before in the Gemara Sotah that when a child is in the mother's womb, he learns all of the Torah, right? And we know that this is what that thing is here. They hit them there and in the lip, and they forget all the Torah. Now, once in a while, someone comes out, they missed it, they forget it. It's true. So it's a documented case. There was a baby that came out without it, and he started talking Torah, and he was quoting Torah, and he was back and forth. Now, they didn't know what to do with the baby. What happened here? So I forget which Rav they took him to. They took him to a certain Rav that he said us with a Kabbalah, and he hit them on the thing, and he forgot it. Today, this baby is an accountant, doesn't remember any of this, right? But it's a documented case. But you should know, there was one sefer, one acharon that he quoted while he was in his phase of quoting Torah, and that acharon was the BIH Shuir.
Nah.
And he kept quoting the BIH Shuir, and so they said they learned from that how holy the words of the BIH Shuir were. That it's Torah that is accepted upstairs and downstairs. That even that's what they're studying in the mother's womb. They're studying the BIH Shuir. So what we're doing is good. We're on the right path. So again, with that story, hopefully we'll move forward now. We probably do have enough information to start the Hakdama, but I just wanted to finish where we're going. We discussed the beged, the cloth part. Oh, and another interesting story that I don't know. I'll share it. And we'll see. This is actually a personal story. Happened to me this week. So last week we mentioned a certain thing, and we'll elaborate on it during the Shuir. But you'll have it now in your thought. We said in private, but there's a word called malchut. Malchut means kingship, and we'll discuss a little bit about that. But there's another word that's called malkot, which means to hit, lashes, right? So we know that normally when they would give the lashes, right, it would be in between the shoulder blades, it would be the lashes. Okay, so now the difference between the word malkut or malkot and malchut is a kuf and a chaf. The rest of the letters are all the same. So again, just an idea. The chaf is like a kuf, but a kuf has a line extending down. The kuf is said to be the letter of tum'ah, because it extends all the way to the gashmiut, it extends all the way down. Whereas the chaf remains up and above. That's why chaf is the word keter, right? Up. So anyway, with that hakdama of the story, I was working on a car this week, and as I got out from under the lift, I don't know, I must have turned in a certain way, and the lift hit me right in the back. Now, as it hit me, Baruch Hashem, I didn't get hurt, but it tore my shirt. And not only did it tear my shirt, it tore my tzitzit. Right in the back, right in between the shoulder blades. But Baruch Hashem, it went through the shirt, the tzitzit, and part of the undershirt, but the skin didn't get cut. So we know that the tzitzit protects, but I just wanted to give you a real life example of that it works. It works. So it works. So I don't know if that was a remembrance of Hashem. That was for sure a tshuva moment. But a lot of times, sometimes Hashem says, I'll send a hit, but I'll send it in a way that it's so padded you won't even feel it. But you got it though. You get the message. Okay. So anyway, so we discussed like this. We were talking about now the strings. So we said the beged talks about the love and the ability of us to receive and perceive the love, right? Sometimes we're on a level where we see the love unbelievable everywhere we go. I mean, if you think about the word modim anachnu lach, when we say modim anachnu lach, a person actually should have in his pocket, I mean not literally, but figuratively, a couple incidents during the day that he can use when he says modim anachnu lach. Say, oh Hashem, you remember this incident where you had my back? It was unbelievable. And this incident where you had my back, it was unbelievable. He should actually have those moments put down on the paper somewhere. So the ability to perceive and receive is the beged, right? But we said that the message is it's difficult. It's still difficult. Love, you said love. If you look at a baby and how a baby perceives love, it's very different than the way a grown-up perceives love, and it's different than a mature man perceives love, and it's very different than the way a husband and wife perceive love, and different than a grandfather perceives love. So each stage of life gives us a different perception. But what do we have? So God wants to give this message, but He needs that the receiver should have some way to receive it, right? So what does He does? He cloaks it. He clothes the message in different terms. So, for example, let's say we were to discuss rocket science. Okay, now let's say we were sitting with the rocket science genius. Now he, of course, knows all the terms and all the terminology, short term, long term, and he knows all of the words. Now we're sitting there, we don't know what he's talking about. So he has to give us examples that we can relate to. So this is what Hashem does. Hashem says, okay, I have a message, I'm going to give it to you, but if I just give you the message, you're not going to understand it. It's talking in a different language. So what do? I put the message in, and I cloak it in clothing, called physicality. And now the physicality becomes a means by which we can extract the message. So we need to know how we do it. How do we do it? And again, a lot of what we're going to say tonight it's expansive, it's big, it's a lot. But it will help you in understanding not only this piece, but other pieces to come, and it'll help you understand the tefillah. This is if we're trying to hit a couple of points during the shiurim, it's to understand the topic at hand, to get a hagdama so we can understand the hagdama of the BIH Shuir and halachot, but also to throw in some tidbits in our tefillah, because tefillah is one of the most important pieces of Avodat Hashem. I would say it's the most important piece of Avodat Hashem. It's the time where we're going to come in and we're unified with Hashem. But if we don't know what all the hints are and all the ways to get into the room, then we're left outside. Right? Tefillah is all about getting into that room, getting into the yichud room. It's like a chatan and kala, into the yichud room. But if the chatan is left outside, stranded, he doesn't even know where the chuppah is taking place. He's going to be left outside. The kala is there, everyone's there, they're waiting for him, but he's not arriving. So that's why I give these things. So we're going to start like this. We're going to go deep. We know that the name Havaya, Yud, K, Vav, K, we discussed this before, is a form of tzedakah. It itself is going to translate into the concept of tzedakah. How is it? So the Ot Yud is a small coin. Again, this is review, but we're going to say it quickly. Ot Yud is a small coin. Ot Hey is the 5 fingers of the giver, grabbing the coin. The Vav is the outstretched arm, the Zero'ah of the giver. And the last Hey is the 5 fingers of the receiver. So now we see in the name Yud Kei Vav Kei, we see a relationship. This is the name of relationship. In fact, we know that whenever Hashem wants to have a relationship, this is the name that we use. Yud Kei and Vav Kei. It means again, if you look in the Shulchan Aruch, Mishnah Berurah tells us that the person should have simple kavanah, not yichudim. Simple kavanah, when a person says the name Havaya, Yud Kei Vav Kei, right? It's Haya, Hove, and Yeh. What does that mean? What does that mean? He was, he will be, he was, he is, and he will be. Meaning like this: God is forever. He sees, he transcends time. He's over time. And it's a very important concept. So again, the Yud and the Kei and the Vav Kei represents our relationship, our ability to receive from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're going to concentrate on us. That's what we're all about. You know, Bishvili nivra olam, right? That's what Pirkei Avot says. For me, the world was created. What does that mean? For that last Hey, the whole world was created. That's why it says, Behi Bar'am, says the Midrash, Behei Bar'am. Behei, in the letter Hey, Bar'am. In the letter Hey, God created the world. What does it mean? For the receivers. Who? That's us. So now let's explore this letter Hey. And again, all this will come clear when we're going to talk about the tzitzit, about the strings of the tzitzit. So that's why I'm giving the whole Agdama. The letter Hey, we said it represents our 5 fingers. Now, if we look in a Sephardi Siddur, right, in that last Hey, you have 4 letters, right? Aleph, Daled, Nun, Yud. Inside the last Hey, if you look at the Sephardi Siddur, I wanted to bring the Siddur, but I don't think they have a Sephardi Siddur here.
Yeah, I know it.
Right. So the Aleph Dad Nun Yud. Okay, so we've all seen it. Okay, Aleph Dad Nun Yud. What is that? So we know that Gemara tells us. He says that there's a ktav and there's a creed. There's a way that is God's name is written, and there's a way that God's name is read. And the Gemara tells us the way I am written, the way I'm written is not the way I'm read. That's what God says. What meaning what? That God is written on paper, Yud, K, Vav, K. But when we speak it, when we're translating it, the message, we call him Aleph, Dalet, Nun, Yud. Makes sense? Okay.
I know this because we can't know how to pronounce.
Right. So now, what does that mean? What does that mean without? Okay, again, now I'm sure a lot of times you've heard a halacha or an idea. We're not allowed to pronounce this name. What does that mean? So this is another thing that we would like to hit home. Don't ever take anything for granted. Meaning, if they tell you this is what it means, ask why.
Right.
What do you mean I don't know how to pronounce it? I can pronounce it. We can figure it out. I mean, we have machines now. We can revive the dead almost, right? I'm sure we can find a way to pronounce these names. But what do you mean we can't pronounce it? Meaning we can't perceive it. We don't understand it. We don't. If you use the words of Ashkenazim, we don't chap it, right? We don't understand it. So what would be the worth of pronouncing it? Again, you only pronounce when you speak with your tongue. You form words which are used to translate a message. That's the whole purpose of the words. And the message creates a relationship. Right? Think about two people when they're going out on a date. If they would just sit there and stare at each other like this for 20 minutes, half an hour, they'd be bored. How do they create the relationship? They talk. The more they talk, the more the relationship grows. When does the relationship start to die out? When people stop communicating. Right, that's one of the big problems in a marriage is when there's a lack of communication, there becomes a problem. When communication is open line of communication, and think about it, in anything in life, business, anything. When communication is open, everything flows. When communication is shut down, problems begin. Because there's a lack of understanding. So, God wants to communicate a message. He says, okay, how can I communicate the message? Okay, I'm going to give you a name. I'm going to give you a concept. Again, names equal concepts for us. Names equal concepts. So I told you Yud Vav K is a name, yes. But now you know it's a concept. It's called tzedakah. Like we mentioned in last year, we said whenever a person is going to be doing a mitzvah, we will discuss in a minute, he's actually doing tzedakah. Because a mitzvah is a message from Hashem. It's an ability to receive the message. That's all a mitzvah is. Mitzvah is almost like if you look in the dictionary and you want to understand, let's say you're talking to somebody in French and you don't know French and he throws you a word. So you look up in the dictionary, what does that word mean? And now you understood what the word means. And he throws you another word. And you look up the word. Every mitzvah is understanding a concept of Hashem. Every mitzvah, another concept, another concept, another concept. So the mitzvot are actually like a big dictionary. That's why this is the Free Kabbalah bring down that there's a place where mitzvot don't exist. Mitzvot only exists down here when you need a dictionary to understand the message. When you go upstairs after 120 years and you already speak the language, so what message, what dictionary do you need? You don't need a dictionary. So that's why this world is the world of mitzvot. That's why upstairs.
This tzedakah has relation to mitzvah.
Tzedakah. Okay. So we said that, and we spoke about this last time. We said that Adam sinned and he created a malbush, right? So we said mal was to circumcise, right? And bush was from the word busha, embarrassment. So we said he was embarrassed that he made the sin. Okay, but that's obvious. But the not obvious part was that the busha allowed him to create it made him have to create a means by which he can relate to God. Because we said that if you have a person and you want to give him, he's a poor person, and you want to give him tzedakah, what's the best tzedakah you give him? You give him a job. Right? The Gemara says you give him a job. Why? Because if you give him a food or whatever, he feels embarrassed that he's taking it from you. He didn't earn it. He's embarrassed. This is what's called, again, like I said, every idea in the Gemara is a concept.